Tapper always gets, that was Jake Tapper was interviewing him. Tapper always seems to get in these conundrums. So then he goes to like two other guests, and then at the end, somebody must have been whispering in Tapper's ear, in the little microphone in his ear that we TV people wear sometimes, because he goes back to that end and goes, now before we leave, you really didn't mean literally kill Trump, right? You meant that. He actually said that at the end of the clip.
You can almost see that they're in his ear doing that.
And you should have seen Tapper, because he was distracted. He was kind of like looking and he wasn't paying attention. And he and that guy goes, the mud guy goes, oh yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, it's insanity what's going on. But someone who's not insane, well, maybe she is because she decided to become a state representative, is Missouri Representative Gene Evans joins me now. And you must wonder some days if you're insane for being in the Missouri House, right?
I have wondered that many times.
And your daughter probably asks you, what, Mom, really? Do you have to keep doing this? Yeah.
She
what does she think about all this?
Well, she lives in Tulsa.
Oh, okay.
So she graduated college, got married, and they live in Tulsa. That's one of my motivations for running, was seeing her and people her age moving out of our state because the jobs weren't here.
Correct.
So that was a big motivator for me. And also, if she weren't out on her own and off the payroll, there's no way I could be a state rep. Let's be honest. Like, I just couldn't do it. So, yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know that I ever asked you that, what your motivation was. It was because you kept seeing young people, literally, your daughter,
right,
and others pursuing their dreams elsewhere because there wasn't enough for them to do here.
That was a big motivator. I kind of got talked into this by Eric Schmidt, so I got to throw some blame there. But one of the big things that got me interested.
And our friend Sue Allen.
Sue Allen,
and
right?
A lot of our other, a lot of your predecessors.
I thought they were friends. So
they meant well.
Yeah,
they meant well.
You know, but the whole Obamacare thing when Obama came into office, me, like a lot of sort of closet conservatives who weren't that politically active, jumped up and said, "Okay, we can't do this. This is crazy."
I bet Obamacare affected you, right? Because you're a businesswoman. You're
self-employed.
You're your own employer.
Right.
You're one of those wealthy elitist corporatists that the left hates so much because you're wealthy.
Yeah, it was.
You wish. Where's all this wealth, right?
Right. Well, and my district is pretty, working to middle class.
Yeah, it definitely is. So, where is your district generally?
So, Valley Park in Manchester. So, if you look at 141 between Manchester and 44, kind of both sides of that. It's just a lump right there, and it's very residential, lots of schools, not a lot of businesses.
Right, a lot of bedroom community there.
Absolutely, easy to walk. Thank you.
Yeah,
so did that last summer.
So that's the district, and you're in the middle of your first term, right?
That's right.
Seems longer, doesn't it?
I can't imagine if I was having a campaign this year in addition to all this other stuff going on. But I enjoy it. When the governor calls us back, we go back. People in the media complain about it, but we're like, this is what I signed up for. This is my job. Go down there and get it done.
You've always had a great attitude about it. We're speaking with Missouri State Representative Gene Evans from St. Louis County. Gene, I've talked to all our guests about this, and I'm sure you join with me in condemning the horrible, horrific acts in Charlottesville over the weekend, and but you probably also join with me in saying that doesn't represent our party at all.
No, and I really like what you said about we're independent, we're not authoritarian. And there was somebody put on Twitter today that this white supremacy helps white people, and we need to acknowledge that. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It's bad for everybody.
It's crazy. Yeah.
We know that a diverse economy where people have opportunity is good for all. We don't want to artificially make opportunities or advantages for people, but we certainly don't endorse or subscribe to that. It's scary for me. I mean, I guess it's because I'm sheltered because I don't know people who are racist.
I don't know people like that either. I think David Duke is a clown. I always thought he was a clown. I mean, like we talked earlier, it's like there's always this, no pun intended, there's always this whitewashing of history, right? It's like Republicans were the ones that freed the slaves. Republicans were the ones that made sure the Civil Rights Act of the 60s got done. I mean, it was a Republican Congress that dragged LBJ kicking and screaming to put that into law. And now, something you're working hard on is education reform, which you've told me. What's your phrase about education reform? What do you call it?
It's a great equalizer.
Right.
Education.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm a first-generation college person. Both of my parents graduated from high school. I went to college, and it gave me more opportunities, a better income. And having the ability to get an education, a good education, just brings more opportunity. That's why we see so many kids from the same school district ending up in prisons in Missouri or ending up poor. Because we have this, as you know, a school-to-prison pipeline for a couple of school districts in Missouri. So if you can change that dynamic of the education, we can't change the home life. We can't change too many other things. But one thing we can change, we spend so much money on education. And if we can open that up so that kids can go to the schools that suit their needs and make it a little more competitive, say between these schools, so they're competing for students like colleges do, so they have to, up the ante and do a better job. I think that just provides more opportunity for everybody at all ends of the income scale throughout the state, and particularly in St. Louis.
Sounds like you want to give people a choice.
A choice. Imagine
the other side feels they own that word, right? Yeah. But we're the ones that they want a choice on one subject, and that's it. We want choice on the things that are really should have a choice, like education. Now, before we leave Charlotte, you had brought something up to me in the break. I completely forget, and we get sidetracked on a much more, this is an important subject because this is talking about education. I believe, like you, will help us conquer a lot of these ills of society.
Absolutely.
But before we leave Charlotte, you were wanting to bring up the point about what about when Congressman Scalise and all the Republicans got shot by the Rachel Maddow fanboy up in D.C.
So this crazy guy from Belleville, leftist loon, on the record for being a complete leftist, hating our president, goes out and starts shooting at congressmen.
Actually shooting them with a weapon.
Not just protesting, he's shooting.
Right.
And, the liberal pundits come out and say, well, we need to condemn both sides here. And I remember thinking, both sides?
There was no other side in that situation.
This is one crazy man. And I understand, we all want to tamp down the rhetoric. And you and I know that when we're in Jeff City or D.C., Republicans and Democrats, for the most part, get along pretty well. Much better than the pundits would want us to believe.
Right. Man, much better than on the Twitter world. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I have a lot of, like you, probably as well, I have a lot of friends who are on the other side of the aisle or different from me philosophically. And when they meet me or when they see me in person, they're like, you're so much nicer than you are on Twitter. I'm like, because Twitter's a battlefield.
It is.
It's a battlefield of political and philosophical ideas. I'm not going to be a shrinking violet on Twitter because the left is out there proclaiming very loudly from the rooftops that Trump is evil, he's going to be impeached, all these things that you're fine, yeah, we're good, that aren't true, that are not going to happen, but they're out there preaching that, and so I try to push back on that. But your point is very valid. State government, which doesn't get the attention I think it deserves, actually functions well, and there's a lot of bipartisanship in Jefferson City, right?
Absolutely, yes. And we want the same things. We want safe streets. We want good schools. We want opportunity. We just disagree about how to get there. But so, there's not a lot of nasty rhetoric when we're just talking to each other about policy.
And speaking of weird alliances, tell our audience the strange alliance on education reform. It's one of the oddest you could probably come up with.
Well, I don't understand why my Democratic colleagues who represent these failing school districts don't support choice or charter school expansion or any kind of opportunity for students.
Some of them do, right? And that's what I mean by the weird, like Jamila Nasheed.
On the Senate side, Jamila, yeah,
Senator
she's great.
Nasheed, Senator Chappelle Nadal, I think has.
But
you're
in
right.
The House, no.
But isn't it strange that very progressive liberal senators like Nasheed and Nadal are with you on school choice, but then some of the others are not?
Well, I think those two are pretty fearless. So I think they see that this is the right thing, and they're no longer fearful of retribution from some other special interest groups.
Fear governs a lot in Jefferson City, doesn't it?
It does, unfortunately.
Probably in D.C., too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would agree.
So we're going to go to a break here, but when we come back, I want to ask you about what you think is up on the docket next year. Like what specifically you might work on in education reform, and another one of your favorite subjects, tax cuts.
Yay.
And whether they're going to get to that too or not.
And
because that's going to be talked about this fall. And then I may ask you a little bit about whether Senator Claire McCaskill can be beaten next year or not.
Absolutely.
Put your
easy one.
Okay, very good. Senator Gene Evans I just promoted you.
Promotion, yeah.
Yeah. Representative Gene Evans in here in studio on the Tim Jones Show here at FM News Talk 97.1. Happy Sunday.
The Tim Jones Show on FM News Talk 97.1.
Traffic reports at your fingertips. Real real-time traffic online. Log on to 971talk.com for real-time traffic updates.
Brought to you by Frank Lita Acura. With 0.9% financing going on now. Can't beat a Lita. Online at litaacura.com.
Hi, this is Barry Sanders for the law firm of Cordell & Cordell. Being a good football player didn't protect me from the trials and tribulations all men are subject to, like divorce and the prospect of losing all the things you've worked so hard for. You may not be able to save your marriage, but with Cordell & Cordell, you can try and minimize the devastation. I took the time to meet and talk with Cordell & Cordell clients and attorneys, and I can tell you that Cordell & Cordell has represented thousands of men just like you and me. If you're a man facing divorce, consider Cordell & Cordell, a partner men can count on.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Call the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's attorneys. 314-725-0000, 725 all zeros. Or visit online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. This is a paid endorsement. Cordell & Cordell, Joseph Cordell, Principal Partner.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision that should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi, I'm Matt Carpenter.
And I'm Jed Jerko.
And I'm Jack.
On the field, the power of the baseball can be tremendous, but that doesn't compare to the power of the baseball off the field.
That's right. And every time a home run is hit, it's making a difference in the lives of Cardinal Glennon kids.
Like me. All of the patients love to root on the Cardinals.
So remember, while a baseball can make or break a game, it can also change a life.
We hope you will join our Homers for Health team and help kids like Jack get back in the game.
Make your pledge today at Glennon.org. Presented by Heartland Coca-Cola.
Radio moves. Radio breathes. Radio never sleeps. And Next Radio keeps up. It goes where you go, so you never miss a beat. It's live, it's local, it's a connection. A shared experience, just you and your radio. And a couple million people, give or take. Next Radio keeps up. You thought that phone couldn't get any smarter? Well, it got simpler. It got leaner. It's got your back. And it'll keep you moving, winning, in the know. And it'll get you where you want to go. All in the palm of your hand. Next Radio, live and local, wherever you go.
Listen to your favorite FM stations with the free Next Radio app. Live and local, wherever you go. Download the free Next Radio app today.
This is CoolDownSt.Louis.org Safety Chair Fire Chief Dennis Jeggerson. The siren you hear in the hot summer months could be rushing to save a life with a heat-related illness. Seniors, please keep on the air, and if you need utility assistance, it's CoolDownSt.Louis.org or call 241-7668. Make sure your air conditioner is in good working condition and the filters are always kept clean. You can always drop off a new or slightly used air conditioning unit at any Vatterott College and get a tax deduction. Help save our seniors or disabled people at CoolDownStLouis.org. Thank you.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
The Mark Cox Show.
Monday, the latest on the standoff with North Korea, assuming we're all here on Monday. And what is Claire McCaskill's tactic in her run for re-election? We'll talk about it.
Now, weekdays noon to 3 on FM News Talk 97.1.
This is the Tim Jones Show. Call now, 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797.
Conversation begins. Oh God, oh, what did I say? substance of the issue, which is there has been a lot of illegal immigration into the country. There's no question those illegal immigrants do depress the wages of working men and women in the United States who are citizens. I mean, it just stands to reason, right, if that's happening. Secondly, there's been a lot of legal immigration. In 1970, the number of foreign-borns in the United States was about 4.5%. It's now about 14%. So it's a big shift to take in and to digest.
Worthy of a debate.
Worthy of a debate and worthy of talking about, well, how would you assimilate better? What are the issues? Democrats, I think, partly because they decided that they were going to chase this idea of the kind of the great Hispanic majority that's emerging, decided to become completely absolutist on it. And I think they're missing the point. There are a lot of Americans who are ready to listen to the Democrats on the economic message. All the data shows this. But they think the Democrats don't get them on some of these cultural issues. This would be a perfect one to have some kind of a reasonable open debate and talk about more assimilation.
I'm not sure I get them, and I do read the paper. But yes, I understand why people who don't even read the paper look at the Democrats on this issue and just think that their policy is come one, come all, right. That they live in this cult of celebrating diversity. Right. And also they think that, the more Latinos who come here and they vote illegally, because they don't check that out.
We're going to postpone that.
Wow, they must have all taken the truth serum. So, by the way, this is a great St. Louis local band that Ken found from back in his Ken days of being on the radio.
All kinds of music like that.
Do you know who this was? We're going to look them up.
I'm going to look them up.
Good stuff, man.
I'll know
Thank
next
you.
time.
Thank you. We're going to, so we can tell you guys where all to look for it if you like it. So, I trashed Fareed Zakaria earlier. I'm going to give him credit now. I don't know if you folks realize this. You were just listening. You probably sounded like you were listening to like the Fox News Roundtable, right? Like the 5 or something, minus Juan Williams, right? That was Fareed Zakaria and Bill Maher. If you had a bunch of conservatives having that discussion, they'd probably be ridden out of town on a rail. So here's the points they made. I was ticking them off as they were talking. And Fareed Zakaria, he's the CNN guy on weekends, and he definitely leans left. Bill Maher leans way left. Although Bill Maher and I are together on this. Bill Maher is just as concerned about radical Islamic jihad terrorists as I am. So Fareed Zakaria says, yes, it's true. Unchecked illegal immigration depresses wages. He said that.
He said it.
I heard it.
So all my left-wing liberal friends, Fareed Zakaria agrees with Tim Jones that unchecked illegal immigration depresses wages. Fact. Also, we've had lots of legal immigration. Fareed said more now than ever before. It's way up. So again, Pelosi, Schumer, they're liars. They're misrepresenting the truth. We have lots of legal immigration, more than we've ever had in our nation's history. Bill Maher and Fareed said, these people, when they come here, need to assimilate. We're a melting pot. And I got another clip that I'll play where Bill Maher says, everybody just needs to melt a little in the melting pot.
Yeah, but if you said that, or if Trump said that, then you're a racist.
Xenophobe, racist, right. White nationalist. Right. Fourth point, that this is a discussion worth having. Why can't we have this discussion? Why couldn't liberals and conservatives, and you know what, they had a conservative on the panel too. They had a guy who was really funny. I wish I had time to play him, but he was great. He said some funny things. He's a professor, and he was the conservative. Sometimes Bill Maher amazes me. As he's so I guess he's so loony to keep his ratings up or whatever, so he has to be outlandish. But then he has these reasonable discussions. And his fifth point was Democrats they lose the forest for the trees because he said they've got this obsession with having a cult of diversity, like diversity for diversity's sake. Diversity's good, but when anything taken to its nth degree can eventually become insane, right?
Right.
Right, Gene?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
When you say that, I was thinking, like, what if you want to diversify to the point where everyone had to be able to have children? You know, I mean, it's almost that bad. It's like we can't all give birth. Some of us are men and some of us are women.
There you go. That's exactly right.
But they get so crazy that you think like they're almost there. With
they
some
have
of the
to
stuff.
Erase all semblance of identity.
But
right?
I object that you can have a child and not I.
There you go. Because you feel like having one today.
That's right.
So we've got Missouri State Rep Gene Evans in house. And Gene, I want to play one more clip here about this immigration thing, because it's a debate that happens on the state level too, right? You guys debate immigration stuff all the time.
Well, one of the things we talked about just recently.
Yeah,
was,
what happened recently?
What had to do with the Dreamers and the scholarships.
The Dream Act,
So we did not want to fund that at the state level. We have a major budget crunch. We cut a lot of money out of the university's budget, and one of the things that we wanted to take out was free tuition for non-legal citizens, also known as illegal citizens.
How crazy.
For someone who just finished paying for 4 years of college, I don't understand why someone should get a free education just because they were brought here illegally. I mean, I'm not taking. I mean, if we could all, if we're really talking about being equal, why do they get a free education and mine didn't? Not that I think we should all have a free education, but it just doesn't. That doesn't even make sense.
Right. So listen. So these two liberals, and I don't know how liberal Fareed is. He definitely lean. He's center-ish left. Bill Maher is far left. These are two liberals continuing to have a discussion that I could agree with as a conservative on illegal immigration. So listen to this.
Immigration. We would like it to be people like Dr. Dawkins and myself, not to just looked upon as, well, there has to be a racist reason for that. It's not first of all, it's not a race, it's a religion. Right. But we're talking about those shared values.
Right. I think anyone coming in, you'd want to say, how do you make sure that and part of what has happened is on the left there's been a kind of multiculturalism that says everything is equal, all these other cultures are equal. And look, I can say as an immigrant, if I wanted to maintain Indian culture, I could have stayed in India. Right? The reason I came to America was because I admired American culture.
Exactly.
Right. And
exactly.
That's right. The first things I said on my old show is, if you're going to come to the melting pot, melt a little. You've got to melt a little.
That is more eloquent. That is more eloquent.
Yeah, you can't take a driver's license photo in a burqa. We have to see your face.
I feel that way.
Exactly. I mean, and that was not the massive Tim Jones in studio audience. That was Bill Maher's audience clapping to that. I don't know if he imported a bunch of reasonable people that night or what. But Gene, can you believe it? That kind of stuff doesn't get replayed much. That was two liberals having a discussion that I think you and I could both generally agree with.
Well, that's the first time I've ever agreed with anything that Fareed Zakaria.
Fareed Zakaria,
yeah. And he sounded sane there, which is unusual.
And Bill Maher sounded like almost conservative.
Now, I've heard him say other things that, I mean, he gets in trouble sometimes because he says things that make sense, and then he gets beat up for that. But and I don't know, I mean, he is liberal, but he's also, there's some common sense there.
He loves America.
Yeah, And
Amen. I think he's one of the liberals that has hit it big, that realizes he couldn't have done what he's done in any other country, probably. He wouldn't have become a multi-millionaire for talking on a TV comedy show, most likely in almost any other country.
Right.
I mean, maybe the UK...
Not
maybe,
like here,
but not like here. Not a celebrity. He has celebrity status. He's very wealthy, I'm sure. I mean, he's HBO. He's had that HBO show for a long time. HBO pays out. You look at some of the shows that have been. They're a very successful cable network. They can pony up the big bucks, and I'm sure they have. And before that, he was on ABC.
Oh, that's right.
Because he referenced that in his melting. So okay. So let me talk about the substance. Bill Maher says, you should come here and try to assimilate. Because Bill Maher was very critical. What they were talking about there was the Muslimization of America. And a few years ago, I got horribly attacked for talking about the dangers of Sharia law. Everybody said, oh, kook. Well, now Sharia law is a real thing that people are concerned about. It's like a mainstream thing to criticize now. Back when I was criticizing it, I was nuts.
You were insane.
Yeah. So, anyway. That's just that whole discussion just is amazing. I wish more liberals would recognize that there is a sane way to be a liberal and yet appreciate and love this country.
No, go ahead.
I don't know if you know this, but I have a very large Muslim population in my district. I have one of the largest groups of foreign-born nationals
I didn't know
in
that.
my district. And there are a lot of refugees that live in some apartments there, but there are also, as a neighborhood, where I would say 50% of the homes are Muslim. And
so you've talked to these people.
Door knocking. I was just invited to a Muslim wedding.
Wonderful.
By one of my constituents. One that had his Muslims for Trump sign in his front yard.
See, that's something the media never talks about.
No, because they need to do that more.
He told me, and he said he was similar with their neighborhoods, their neighbors and people he knew, was they escaped terrorism and lawlessness. They came here legally.
They don't want it brought behind them.
Yeah. So, and he'd been here for a while. I mean, he and his family are naturalized citizens. So I think they came over during the Gulf War. But we don't want that. We came here to assimilate. Now, they still practice their religion. God bless them. They should. This is a free religion here.
That's why people came here in the first place.
Absolutely. And gracious enough to invite me to their wedding. So
awesome.
I'm going to go to my first Muslim wedding. I'm pretty excited about that. But
congratulations. That's great.
It's not the stereotype that you see.
Right.
Not everyone fits that.
So, Gene, the show always goes too fast. We got 2 minutes left. What's coming up? What do you want to work on next year in the Missouri House?
Well, I had that marriage bill we talked about before about raising the marriage age, and there's some trafficking things that I'm looking at working on. But I think we need to do some tax cuts. I mean, we're working on some efficiencies in the government, but I think money in the hands of the people who earn it always works better than in the hands of government.
Well said. Well said. And a little education reform, hopefully, right?
Yes, ESAs and charter schools. We barely got through the House last year, but I think the ESAs that
education savings accounts
Andrew Koenig has a really good shot of going somewhere this year.
Well, I know you'll be working with Senator Koenig on that. He's your senator, and
good guy.
He was your predecessor.
Absolutely.
As well. So it's great to have you both still serving at the highest levels of government. Gene, you're on. You're a good social media user. How do folks find you in the social media world?
So on Twitter, I'm at MoRepEvans.
Okay.
And then I have a Facebook page, Gene Evans. I think you can just Google it.
Facebook, Gene Evans. Look for the Gene Evans in Missouri. And at MoRepEvans on Twitter. Gene, it was great having you. Thanks for spending so much time with us. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll have you back again. Good luck. Godspeed to you. I'm going to see you all at Summer Caucus this week down at the lake.
Thursday. Yeah.
Thursday. Yeah.
See you Thursday.
See you all. We'll party and celebrate being good, honest Republicans that want everybody to succeed and everybody to be happy and everybody to be safe.
Absolutely.
Right.
I agree. Thank you.
Oh, man, what a great show. Hey, Ken, thank you so much. Good to have you back.
Oh, I'm great to be back, Mr. Speaker.
And thank you. And Andrew, I want to thank him as well. Andrew he answers your phone calls and